Hello, hello.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday shift. Thank y'all for your patience with me. I was gone last week. My voice is not all the way back, but I was out for the count last week. I texted Tanya, I was like, I haven't talked for 2 days trying to get my voice back. Tanya was like, why don't you just go to
I'm like, dude, just take care of yourself. That's the important thing.
I was like, right,
So,
I could cuss out this show next week, but make sure that you like, subscribe, share, and also do me a favor. If you are a person, because we've gotten more people who just listen, and we love that, and we appreciate you. But if you could go to YouTube and still subscribe to us, we would love that as well. So we can grow our subscription and maybe like monetize if they let us,
yeah.
because we don't have enough people who are subscribed to do that. Um,
Yay.
yeah, and then also want to thank both Heather and Saram. I think it's Sarama, which I think is a beautiful name. I kind of fell in love with it when I saw it for doing the Buy Me a Coffee. Always appreciate that. Tanya's out here struggling with one earbud, so we are putting in an order for headphones as soon as I get home. And that money from Buy Me a Coffee is like sitting in an account, and that's what we're going to use it for. So we appreciate you. Now that that's done, Tanya, how are you? How's your 2025 shaping up?
Well, I mean, it's going great so far. Yesterday I had the privilege of being able to watch our next congressperson for the East Bay area,
Yeah.
Latifah Simon, get sworn in. Grand Lake Theater. That was great. It was a whole bunch of who's who in Oakland politics, and I kind of just
Hmm.
stayed in the cut. It was
I
just
wish I was
watching.
home to go with you
Yeah.
because then I would have allowed you to stay in the cut.
Oh no, I stayed in the cut. And I was in and out. Like my former boss, she was like, "Are you going to the after party?" I'm like, "Girl, no, I'm at home."
If I was
So,
home, we would have done all of it.
I went home. So today is just, I mean, this week has just been pretty chill. There's a lot going on in Oakland politics that I'm not a part of, which I'm super glad about. And so I've just been really relaxing and just trying to get my life together. I actually have to move from my apartment. So there's been a lot of just kind of going through all my stuff, which I suggest
Oh.
everybody do every year, is just kind of purge stuff
Hmm.
that you don't need. And so I've been doing a lot of that this weekend, just going, I have so much paper from previous jobs, not even just the job that I just left, but from jobs I had 6 to 8 years ago. And I'm like, why am I holding on to this? And I'm just
Hmm.
letting it all go. And so, that's the benefit of just kind of being a nomad and not staying in one place, is that every time you move, you get rid of stuff that you don't need. But everyone should do that periodically, because some of the stuff is just, it's wasting some valuable space that you could have in your life. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, that's
Yeah,
me.
that's funny. I mean, if folks know, especially if you see my background, I haven't been home for a while. So
Hmm.
I'll be home at the end of the month. I'm very excited about that. And that's one of the things that I was saying I'm going to be doing is like decluttering.
Yeah.
And I have so much stuff. I think I can track it back to the beginning of the pandemic, to be quite honest,
Oh,
because
wow.
it was a lot of retail therapy.
Yeah.
So I have so much stuff that I don't need. So I'm gonna just make like a box of things to donate. I used to do this thing
Hmm.
called the Brown Sugar Box. It was like a monthly subscription service.
Uh-huh.
It was like it's black owned, really amazing, but every month you would get something, and it was like very hefty. You would get like a T-shirt, and you would get like whatever but a T-shirt every month, so many T-shirts, and then you would get other things. So I have so much that I haven't used. A lot of it's still in the box, and I was like, Tracy, you're gonna donate all of that when you get home, and then you're
Yeah.
gonna throw those because the boxes are big too.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I'm gonna just like I'm gonna donate things, I'm gonna throw things out. My plan is to be I have a whole plan written out to be fully decluttered by February 15th. Because I have so much stuff.
Yeah, that's the timeline I'm working with. I got to probably move in the month of February. So
Mm,
oops, I got to declutter all that stuff. And luckily, I live near East Oakland Youth Development Center, which they could
Oh,
probably
yeah, I love them.
use a lot of stuff. So I just texted the ED and was like, could you use all this stuff? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, great. So
Yeah,
yeah, if
I love her.
you guys should do that, the audience, if you're listening, declutter and then think about how it feels good to have extra space in your life to just
I know, I know. Oh my God, when I was sick, I was so miserable. It was like at one point, because it was like a sinus infection, at one point I was
Mhm.
like, do I need sinuses? Like, what does that mean? Like, can I get those removed?
Do I need sinus?
What is that? Like, like I'm Googling, like, what is a sinus? No, but I had to like buy this steamer, and I
Oh,
was like steaming my face like twice a day to try to like break it up. I was feeling terrible, but my skin was on point.
oh
All that
yeah.
steam on my face. I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, like, this is good. I'm
That's what
still feeling the benefits.
that's one of my purchases I'm gonna make for my birthday is to get a
Oh,
steamer for my
steamer?
hair and my face, for my hair and
Mm-hmm.
face.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because
Get a
I'm
good one.
like, yeah, because I'm like looking at all these young folks with glistening skin and I'm just like, that needs to be me.
Well, over the computer, you glisten and glow. So.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
So let's hop into Port Charles. I mean, since we were gone last week, I know I got some things to say. I'm certain you got some things to say. Let's get into who was your performer of the week.
Um, Jane Elliott, 100%,
Mm,
both
mm,
last week and this week. And she's been like firing on all cylinders. I know it was actually her birthday week, this week or
hmm
last week. And, I think that's a great way to celebrate is to put on the best performances of your life. And she probably did those performances prior to, but having them air now is just like really sweet. I loved her scene with Steve Burton. I also just want to give him props for that. But we'll talk about, what happened with that. Um, but every scene that she's had scenes where she's confronted multiple people and they have been great. And so, just
hmm
shout out to her. She's queen. Um, who else would I go to? Obviously, I mean, Laura Wright was doing great. Responding. I think I was gonna say this. As much as I hated the storyline for Michael, um, it has pulled out some great performances from people. So there's that.
hmm
So
hmm
have to give, the cast responding to the crisis, kudos.
Yeah.
Um, Pretty much. I think that's
hmm
generally it for me.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think Jane Elliott has done really phenomenal work because Tracy's such a prickly character
Mm-hmm.
that it could be done poorly. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you could hate Tracy considering some of the things that Tracy does, but Jane's portrayal won't ever allow me to hate Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's phenomenal. And then was it last week that Jocelyn went off on
Oh
Willow?
yeah. Yes, it was.
Even
And I
though,
do have to give her some props to Eden
hmm
McCoy because I think she did the full-on assault of Willow that we were all expecting Carly to do, but Carly was responding to the fact that her son was in, so that was where she went off. But Jocelyn said everything we all been wanting to say to Willow for weeks.
which was right, and I think that they should do a little bit more of that, like
Yeah,
move Carly into like more of that matriarch role. I mean, she could be a messy matriarch, of course, as
right.
she should, but like let's give the younger adults like more to do. I actually, anyway, I'll get more into like what I would have wished, but I just think that Eden did a phenomenal job. It was so when Nina was like, "You're just like your mother," she was like, "I could say the same thing about your daughter." And also, thank
Hmm.
you. Like, it was
Right.
just so snotty and so good. I loved it a whole lot.
She had some cool one-liners too, which I wrote
Hmm
down. She's like something about like I don't know what it was before that, but she'd call him, well, you guys are just a bunch of lying liars who lie. And then, the one that she had before where she was confronting Willow and she was saying, well, yeah, Michael should have known, because what do you get when you marry a cheating wife? A cheating wife. So she had some great quips up in there, some like I guess what you would call like Gen Z quips or something like that. Because
Yeah.
Eris was like, girl, but they were cute.
Hmm. And then before we get into the show, we would be remiss to not just acknowledge the passing
Oh,
of Leslie Charleson. I think
yeah.
a loss. People have been asking about Monica. We've been asking about Monica. Um, really sad. And all of the tributes to her have been so funny. Just like they loved her and just like her hearing about her spirit and how like snarky she was. Um,
Hmm.
but a huge loss, a huge, huge loss. So rest in
Yeah.
peace,
Rest in peace.
Leslie.
And condolences to the cast who will miss her. I was
Again.
just, yeah, I was talking to a friend who doesn't watch GH as much as I do. And I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's pretty sad week. Monica Quartermaine died. She was like, what? Monica Quartermaine? I was like, I remember when I
Hmm.
watched that show. Kind of the
Hmm.
same reaction that people have to, our soap opera icons. People remember them. They had an impact on people's
Right.
lives. And so it's so important. And so, we're gonna definitely miss Monica Quartermaine, and we're anticipating seeing some scenes coming up soon to acknowledge Leslie's and Monica's passing. But yeah, do want to give condolences to family, friends, those who worked with her,
Mm.
and may she rest in peace.
Right. All right. Let us get into the week. And it was so funny because I emailed Tanya like kind of overarching things, and it was like smaller, like overarching things, but a
Hmm.
lot to talk about underneath them, which I think makes sense. They need to do a little bit more condensing of the story, so shout out to that. But want to start with Trina and Kai. So
Hmm.
this week we see them doing yoga with Stella. We find out that Stella is Kai's yoga buddy. And then Trina obviously is like apparently very interested now in football as she goes to the bar and watches it with Gio. And then Miss Emma shows up, which I'm like, okay. And
Right.
then, and then during the game, Kai gets injured, um, and Trina goes to see him at the hospital, and so it really does feel like something is like blossoming and blooming with them. And we learn a little bit more about his football path. So how
Hmm.
are you feeling about Trina and Kai? How are you feeling about the story? Any specifics you want to dig into, dive into? I have a few, but want to hear from you first.
Again, I think they're a cute couple, and this week they have kind of upped the ante in displaying interest in each other versus just kind of responding to the situation that they're in. With, Kai um just bragging about and challenging Trina about doing planks, which he didn't have to do if he didn't care. With him when he was in the hospital, looking for a specific gift or looking for a name on the cards, and then being like, oh, so now you come and see me. So then it's like he had an expectation of her involvement in his recovery.
Mhm.
So therefore, they are seeking each other out. She's watching football when she's never really cared before, and she's displaying an interest, and not only in the sport, but ensuring that he's okay. Um, so they're slowly, reaching out towards each other and showing interest. And so I think that's cute and great. Um, Again, it was obvious, it kind of seemed like an obvious plot line to have him be injured, because otherwise he would he would just go on with his career and join the NFL league and never see her again. So they had to keep him in Port Charles in some way, so therefore they injure him, and so now he has to stay another year, I guess. So they're technically, are they in their senior year or are they in their junior year?
I don't
It's
know.
unclear. But in any case, he has to stay another year in Port Charles, and so therefore, um, they're going to be around each other for another year. So, it's cute.
Mm.
So that's all.
I I guess I'll start with the positives for them. What I appreciate about it is that it's a break from so much of like the heavy drama.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Um, and I'm going to talk a lot about the writers because we're also going to go over like the writer, like they had an interview or whatever. We'll talk about that a little bit too,
Oh,
and hot takes. I think there is something that the writers do where they take this feedback, and to me, they're either writing for Twitter or they're writing against Twitter. And that is a problem, partly because like Twitter is designed to be is a different kind of conversation on the app, which is fine, but it's actually not the majority of the viewers. And
mm,
so if you look at Facebook now has Meta AI that will like give a synopsis of what people are talking about in like large threads. And a lot of times with those large threads, aside from the official channel, there are like Facebook groups that like writers and things wouldn't be in.
mm-hmm.
So I bring this up to say that I think that so much of the kind of pushback on other characters, so like a Kai, for example, we're getting all of this football backstory, which I'm not necessarily all that interested in because the feedback from like a Rory or a Geo or even a Dex was that we didn't know their backstory. Now, I think that that's right. I think that people should have more backstory, but I don't. What are we learning about Trina and her growth while we're just hearing about this guy's like football story? So that for me, like I do think they're cute. I think they have cute chemistry. I actually the first time I really saw some like a spark, I've been seeing actually a spark between Trina and Geo, which I didn't see before, but I don't think they're going in that direction. But yeah, I think they have chemistry. I like the Stella of it all. I really like that like small connection. I think that's really smart. Um, I liked at the football game that they. I know that you hate Cody, but I liked that he was there. I like them, like making it a part of the story because otherwise football was so random, and Kai feels so isolated. And so while I appreciate them being a respite from like so much of the drama, I would like them to be more integrated into the story. Even even like, and I know that because I'm a fan of Dex, it's different, but like, why is Trina not grieving Dex? Like, yeah, that was Jocelyn's boyfriend, but that was your friend. And so it could have been interesting to see her talk about that with Kai and even like mention Spencer because we did have that moment with Geo and Trina talking about Spencer.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, so that's I don't know. That was I talked in circles. So I appreciate how cute they are. I just feel like they're a little disconnected. I feel like they're very Kai heavy right now, not enough Trina. And I just the football of it all doesn't interest me.
I would say I am interested in learning a little bit more about Kai.
Mhm,
But to your point, I'm more interested in learning about him as a person outside of football. Like I
mhm,
wanted to, like they did a brief thing where she was like, "Oh, what about your family?" And he said, "Oh yeah, my family saw me when I, got back on the plane." But I would like to know, like, where's his family? Where is he actually from? Like,
mhm,
you know, like what interest does he have outside of football? Um, that's what I'm more interested in. I don't mind the fact that it is a little Kai heavy right now because I kind of feel like they have to integrate him into the story or integrate him into the world. So I am interested in learning about him. I'm wondering where his friend was. I remember I found his friend to be more interesting just as off the cuff because that performance, as
mhm.
brief as it was, just made me
Well,
more
you
interested
know,
in his friend.
well, you know the
You know?
interesting thing is his friend auditioned for the role of Kai.
Right.
So the two of them auditioned together. He got it, or not together, but both of them
Yeah.
auditioned. The young man who plays Kai got it, and so but they like still liked the other guy, so they gave him that role of like the extra, the friend.
Yeah. So I would like to see the friend more too. Um, just, just because I kind of feel like I would like to see Trina hang out with friends other than, people who are already on the canvas, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you're right. I think would love to have seen Trina talk more about herself and her life, talk about Dex, as they're getting, hopefully they'll have an opportunity to do that as they're getting to know each other even more. But right
Mm-hmm.
now it is a little, seems to be a little superficial and just about the football. I think if they're going to have a better connection, it has to be deeper.
Yeah,
So we'll just have
it's
to
like
wait and see,
yeah, I
what they
guess
do.
I guess like I was just like I, the story I want for Trina is not her being a cheerleader.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm holding out some hope, letting it
Yeah.
develop. It just felt. Um, I think that the other thing that I'm holding and I need to like let it go because it's over is that I really wish they weren't in college. Like we don't see them in class, we don't see them with classmates. So all of the kind of trappings of being in college keep them stuck as opposed to they are now adults out in the world. So anyhow, that's how I feel about that. Let's get into Michael. So obviously we start this week, and whoo, Willow girl. So we start this week, and we have like the juxtaposition of like Willow fighting with Carly and
Hmm.
Sunny, and Drew speaking for her at the same time. Michael having this overdose of digitalis that Cyrus gave him last week. Um, and Isaiah swoops in, talking to Lucas, and decides like we're gonna just give him the like antidote to digitalis, taking a risk because if Michael would have gotten it and he didn't have the digitalis in his system, then it would have killed him. But if it did, it would have saved him, which it did. So now we have more of a mystery. We have who is messing with these cameras because Cyrus keeps being able to get in and out.
Right.
Um, and then we obviously now know that Liz didn't have anything to do with this because she wasn't at the hospital.
Right.
Um, yeah, so I find that all to be interesting. I want to see where I wish we focused a little bit more on that because that's like what I'm interested in. I need to know Cyrus's motivation. Like, what are we doing? Um, let's start with Willow and Drew. I don't even know. Or let's like Willow and Drew in custody. So last week when we didn't record, we find out that like Diane takes like a custody order to Nina's house, gets the kids, and Willow is like, and Drew convinces Willow to be like, if I can't see my children, then you can't see Michael. Ooh, ooh. How do you feel? Tell me, tell me, tell me. I see your face. The face you're making is very funny to me right now. It's so nasty.
But oh my goodness. So first of all, back to the Cyrus of it all. I'm really concerned that the hospital has not talked to the families of these victims and telling them, hey, by the way, we have a serial killer. I know, as a
Why doesn't
hospital,
Michael
you
have a
don't want to
bodyguard?
like there's no like they're not doing anything to prevent it. Like they know something is going on. They thought that, dismissing, which is weird to me because they thought, dismissing Elizabeth would have solved something, but it didn't solve something. And what it's weird about is like I don't think any of them thought it was Elizabeth. They were
Right.
just trying to question her. And so, I guess we're gonna put Elizabeth on suspension and then that will be it. No, the murders are still happening. You guys aren't warning patients, you're not warning families. You just, let it happen. That's really crazy to me. Excuse me. So,
Mhm.
back to Willow and Drew. I am just super, super disgusted by Drew and his gall and his temerity. And the fact that Willow, okay, she ended up having a conversation with Chase where she was airing a lot of the things that we were saying, like, am I just, going after people who I feel are heroes and blah, blah, blah. If that's the case, that I don't understand why you felt the need to take Michael away from Sunny and Carly. I mean, it was just like you're being the ultimate hypocrite. And it's just like, I need my children. I need to make sure that I need to be with them. I need to make sure they're safe. Yeah, you're willing to take Michael away from Carly. Like, what is, I don't understand. And still, this man who you say you love, you cheated on him with his uncle. Bygones, I guess.
Whom you
I'm
now
just like,
love.
you now, you love him now, or at least you're
No, you
saying
love the
that to
uncle
people.
now.
Oh, yeah, whatever. I don't even it's crazy to me. I think Willow is the worst,
Mhm.
the worst person right now on GH Canvas because she's naive and silly and just childish and petty in a way where people used to think she was the sweetest thing and we need to protect her and she's, all of this. She's like, I think, in my opinion, she's worse than Nell because at least Nell was about it. She was like, whatever. I hate you. I love you. I only like Nell is the one who truly loved Michael. She was obsessed with him.
Nell
She,
was entertaining, at least.
she was entertaining and she was real. And she said how she felt. And there was no like, oh, well, you don't understand, or I love, no sweetness about it. She was just like, this is me and I'm gonna cause problems for Carly because Carly's a bitch, and I like Michael, and I'm gonna have his kid, and I'm gonna take all his power, and blah blah blah. You knew where she stood. Willow, on the other hand, is she's like faking the funk, and I hate it, and she's annoying, and there's nothing like I guess having her have a conversation with Chase and having her being like, yeah, I think the right thing to do is for Carly and Sadie to see each other. No, it's not going to change. I still hate you as a character now. And I think, and as far as Drew, man,
Well,
first,
let's
yeah,
okay. So let's talk a little bit more
you
about
can go into
Willow. Because
Willow. Yeah.
let's do one at a time. Because like no, it's both of them. I'm like listening because you're saying exactly what I feel. I'm like keep ranting,
Right.
but I'm like no, wait. But for me with Willow, you know, all of these characters, it'll be something like as a mother. Like I don't have any children, but I'm an aunt, and if you try to take my nieces and nephews away from me, all hell's gonna raise loose, right?
Right.
And so I understand as a mother, like not like doing whatever you need to do to keep your children. And to me, if that was if it was like a confident Willow being defiant and saying, Carly, you would do this for Michael.
Mm,
If somebody took Michael away from you, y'all have done worse for Michael.
right.
If that was like the angle, I wouldn't like Willow, but I could respect Willow. I have no
Mm,
respect for Willow, and that's not entertaining. The reason, like, even when she's talking just like, how did we get here? Well, we got here because you cheated on him with his uncle. To the point where we don't even care that Michael slept with Sasha. Sasha running up on you and we like, go girl, get it. That's
yes.
crazy. We should not be on like they made a baby and we are like, whatever, who cares? As an audience, as a collective, nobody cares
Hmm.
because y'all are terrible. You're unapologetic. You're like, what? It just happened. We love each other. What are we supposed to do? We just fell in bed together. No, you have no shame. You blame everyone else. Just literally no shame. And then when it comes down to it, the reason this was even drama is because you tried to take them kids out and dead in the night at Nina's insistence.
Hmm.
Michael would have been willing to share custody of kids with you. Michael has been very clear the whole time. I'm trying to be fair with you. You trying to take these kids, which was shady, take them. I don't want to fight with you. I'm not gonna be overhanded with you. This didn't even become an issue until I found out you took my son across state lines to be disrespectful. Like you didn't
Yeah.
even take a moment or a pause to say, you know what, maybe we shouldn't do that.
Or maybe we should, call Michael and see, if he's okay. No, she
But
didn't
why
even
would
do
he even be
any of that.
why would he even be okay? If
Well,
you know, especially this is what I'm saying, like they keep writing Willow as an idiot.
yeah.
And if you keep writing her this way, I'm gonna treat her that way. Girl, you done burned too many bridges and I cannot save you now. This is
Hmm.
wild. You
Wild.
if you knew that you was about to do a custody fight with Michael, if that was what everybody was telling you, then why would you take his child without permission or without discussing with him? It's not even permission, but like discussing it with him to go be with your go be with the dude you cheated on him with, and then let that be in the papers. It's
Yeah.
embarrassing. So you would just further humiliate him.
Just all up in the pictures, at least no thought to be like, you know what, this is going to go on national news and people are going to see me. No thought whatsoever. Just in the picture with him like she was his girlfriend and proud of it.
And did it after Lucas confronted you to be like, "Yo, what's going on?" This
Right.
so this is why Michael did this because it was really clear that you did not want him to have access to his children. Now, I don't understand who has custody of the children now. Tara and I were laughing. Tara was like, "The mansion has these children." Because
They
like,
do.
because like, how did the court take them away from them? I'm like, what are we doing here? It's all for me so contrived that it's hard to like find a groove or a place to feel something because like obviously we know everything. I mean, it's a soap. Everything's contrived, but it's lazy. It's
Mm.
how is Sunny falling out even with no guard? Where are the guards? It shouldn't have had to be Isaiah picking him up off the floor because you literally should have a guard around you because you're a mob boss. How is Willow going up against Sunny and Carly as if Sunny is not a mob boss? Are we a mob
Yeah,
boss or are we not a mob boss?
exactly. Sure. Like when Tracy went off on Sunny, 100%. What she's like, I can't believe I'm talking to someone who's supposed to be the Don of what's of New
The
York.
Eastern Seaboard.
Oh, just like Sonny's letting them get away with a whole bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
For what? He's like, I
It,
have to focus on Michael. First of all, you said that you told Michael just before the fire that you were behind him 100% and you would support him in this fight. And you're gonna let this woman just take your grandchildren and hold
mm-hmm.
you hostage and being able to take care of your own son? This is what you're doing as a mob boss? Someone who would literally beat up somebody and put them in the trunk of a car? You're not gonna do anything. You hung up your
I
lieutenant on a meat hook and you're sitting here and letting Drew, because it's really Drew that's manipulating everything. Even if he was squeamish about doing something to Willow, Drew's ass needed to be taken down, and you're not doing anything.
But even that, let's talk about
Right.
where I can't stand Christina. I have found Christina to be annoying essentially since the very moment that they let go of Blaze.
Mm.
Where are Christina and Jocelyn? Christina and Jocelyn, go put Willow on a meat hook. What is going on? Like, where
No,
is the
I
rest
don't
of this?
think Christina would do it because she's always team Nina no matter what. And if Nina comes up
But
to
see, this
her,
is
you know,
right. But this is like the part that makes the story, right? The
yeah.
part that should fill it out.
Hmm.
Why did like Christina should have been in the conversation with Michael or with Sunny and Nina because
Yeah.
Christina should have like walked up when Nina and was trying to like talk to Jocelyn, and we should have seen Nina or Christina turn on Nina in that moment because Nina's never
Right.
done anything but talk negatively about Michael.
Right.
If we're gonna do family story, if we're gonna do generational stories, if we're gonna tell stories with these characters, then let's do it. That's why I said whereas Trina to grieve Dex too. I'm not saying it should like take over her life, but certainly should be a moment for her to be like, oh my god, I lost another friend.
Hmm.
Because her and Dex were friends. Christine, like, where's Molly? Where are people who actually care about Michael? Because you're barring Sonny and Carly. I want to see you bar Jocelyn and Christina. That's what I want to see.
Right. And Molly.
And Molly, like
Everybody.
that.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. Like, let's actually like get into it and actually have some drama and some mess around the things that you're doing. But
Hmm.
instead, it's just bare bones. So I'm gonna hand it back to you. Get into Drew. What? Get into Drew. Get into him.
Oh my God, this asshole. I'm sorry. I don't usually cuss like that, but man, I was just like every scene he was in, I was like, this asshole. I mean, just the temerity every single time.
That's
He's
your
like,
word today. The word for today is temerity, Drew.
temerity, Drew. Just like every single time, he'd be like, if he's in the room when they're having the conversation, he's like, just so we're clear, Willow has control of Michael's decision making. Willow has the power to do whatever you want, not you. He was just in their face, just really like on one. Like he had the right to be in the conversation in the first place. He didn't. I didn't even understand. There was some point where, Sonny was like, we don't care what you think. Dude, again, that could have been when Sonny was like, snapped his fingers, had a bodyguard, and dragged Drew's ass out of the hospital. That's what should have happened. And just like, it's so crazy. And then he's all like, but he had that when Willow and Carly had the conversation, and he sidles up to Willow and was like, she's just trying to manipulate you. Don't let her do that. Everybody was comparing him to the Donna Day
Shiloh.
dude because he was just like that. Like, and the fact that he doesn't see that about himself is really crazy. Like, this is like the worst character flip ever. Like there is no way that Billy Miller's Drew would have done this. This man, and he's like self-righteous. He's like, ego driven. And it's like, I love Willow. I'm like, you don't love Willow. She's an object to you that you get to manipulate. So you could take your revenge out on people who you've had issues with. It's clear as day to everybody but you. And so, at first, when Martin went up to him and was like, I don't blame you because love is love. I was like, Martin, for real? but he was just like, dude, make amends, make amends. And I thought maybe somebody had reached him when Jordan reamed into him, was like, make
Mm-hmm.
amends. No, she was the one who said make amends. I thought he might have listened, but no, he immediately went in on, I need to get the kids away from Tracey. You need to do whatever you need to do. And then just barges into the Quartermaines and arrest Tracey Quartermaine
Using his congressional power,
using
by the
his
way.
congressional power.
Because what is the court order?
He- the
What?
court
Because the
order
court
just,
order is not for Willow to have them kids. You actually like blackmailed Carly and Sonny in public.
right,
Like this is the thing. I mean, obviously it's a soap, but like we still need things to make sense.
right.
I hate to say this. I can't think of a character I've hated this much since Peter August.
Exactly.
It's bad. And it's interesting because I know Cameron Matheson's having, and we didn't even like say anything because it was a week, but obviously our
Yeah.
hearts are with everybody who is like going through the fires in LA. Um, and so I'm like watching him, and I really felt sad for him because I know that he's having a hard time with this character flip. And it's like happening as he's like losing his home and all of these things. I have to wonder, did Cameron piss somebody off? Because this story is crazy. It
Hmm.
is a villainous turn. Drew is so unlikable. He's so controlling. It is so poorly written. He has no one on his side, and then he won't have anyone on his side once Willow finds out about him and Nina. Literally everyone has turned against Drew. When Drew was talking about, like, I am particularly upset as a Sam fan that he took Scout out of the house when the whole point, everybody, all these other men have been thinking about these kids. And the first
Mhm.
thing that you do when you have the moment to do it is to say you don't care. Is to say, whatever, I'm taking Scout. I don't care about her being I am going to isolate her because I am isolated.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. It's because he's isolated. He was like, it was the Quartermaines that kicked us out. The Quartermaines did not kick them out. They kicked you out. You could have been like, what's best for Scout is to stay here with her brothers. But no, you decided to take her with you.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's probably as a bargaining chip in some sort of way in
Mm-hmm.
order to hurt other people and not give a damn of what it meant to your own daughter. Dude's
And then to
crazy.
be like, her and Willow like each other, sure, okay. That is something, again, y'all just made up. We have literally never seen Willow and Scout together in any sort of way that made us believe that Willow and Scout have a relationship. We never saw Willow and Drew be together in such a way that would made us think they had anything besides lust. And what is not lost on me is that Willow asked Drew to walk her down the aisle, meaning that she saw you as a father figure. And now all of a sudden, you are doing all of these things. And I appreciated what Carly said. Carly was like, "You." It was like a little bit of a subtle threat. Carly was like, "You know me. You know how hard I went for you. Do you
Hmm.
want this? Do you want me to come for you? Because I will."
Hmm.
And then when she saw Drew's behavior, she was like, "Oh, this is what he's doing. That Michael wouldn't like this. He's isolating you from everybody." I do not understand what they're doing with the character of Drew. Unless you like to tell me he got a brain tumor or he is being controlled by a tarot card, I do not understand how he becomes salvageable. And they really are trying to salvage Nina on his back, if we're being honest.
Yeah, yeah.
Because let's actually talk about like the infantilizing that they're doing of Willow versus the villainization that they're doing of Drew. Nothing is
Hmm.
Willow's fault. It's all, oh my God, poor Willow. Even Chase. And let me say this, as many times as I've had to watch Chase talk crazy to Brooklyn when you got mad at her, for you to have all the patience in the world for this girl Willow, Chase don't piss me off.
Yeah. I did not like how he's coming to Willow's rescue and at all. I almost think it's definitely disloyal to Quartermaine family and
Mm-hmm.
to Brooklyn to do that. And
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn,
And I thought,
she loves Michael.
yeah.
And
And I thought
so
we were gonna get a Brooklyn Willow scene when they were at the hospital and they were going.
right.
I thought we were going to see her at least give Willow a look or a face or something before she went to her appointment. It's just like they like leave so much on the table. It's just wasted
Mm,
story. What is happening in this writers' room that we can sit on here every Sunday and like talk about how things should be better? And
right.
I mean, obviously there's big changes, huge changes, but it's also the small stuff.
Honestly thinking like you're like when you were saying something like Carly will still need to have Carly have this conversation with Willow. Um, I was thinking she might do what she did when, you know, Micah was going to jail and then she went back after Lulu. And like she's waiting, like I feel like she's gonna be biding her time. Once Michael is settled and everything is taken care of, she's gonna come back and cause hell. Because because that's what she did in the past, and I'm hoping that's what she's gonna do in the future. But then when she was talking about Michael's treatment, she was like, I'm gonna go with him. I was like, what? Carly's going with them. What does that mean? Is she not coming back? I was like, oh hell no. She's got hell the cause. It's her child. She can't leave while Mako's gone. I was panicking.
They're not gonna let her. I mean, they're clearly trying to
Right.
like move her into like this more, whatever role. So they're not gonna let her go off of Willow, and
Yeah.
when she should and when she deserves.
Yeah.
I just, for me, I have just been frustrated with the lack of follow through with these stories. The lack of it's like they just go into a room and they're like, "What do we want to do today?" Doesn't matter what happened in the past. Doesn't matter what's going to happen. What are we doing today? And they just write from that
Yeah.
perspective.
Right.
And it's not about like how do we grow characters? How do we like move them forward? It's just plot, 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 plot. Don't matter what characters are involved, and or like their growth or whatever.
So
To
yeah,
me,
oh go
I
ahead,
don't
good.
think the Carl. Oh, I was going to say to me, I don't think Carly's going to go after Willow because they are setting
Yeah.
Willow up to be innocent.
Oh, yeah, I would not like that at all. I don't think the audience would either. I think Willow needs a comeuppance. And so they're trying to set her up as, redeeming her, I guess, by giving an inch to the parents. And I don't know, like she didn't like I'm surprised that Drew hasn't come up to her and been like, "Why are you backing down? Why are you doing this?" How
Hmm.
is she going to respond when she finds out that Drew had Tracey arrested? Is she going to agree with it? Is she going to push back? Is she going to get a backbone? I don't think so. So it's going to be very hard to redeem Willow at this point, in my opinion, at least for me. But you might be right. They may be trying to set her up as, a heroine of some sort. I'm not seeing it. Um, she's lost cause. They're gonna have to do some serious. I don't know what she's gonna have to do. I don't know. Right now, I'm not forgiving her just because of her naivete and her, pettiness and just, woe is me. I don't like it.
I hate it.
Right.
I hate it,
Um,
but I do think that that's like I think that's the play. I think
yeah.
it's like because even when she's like, "I love Michael," I can't like when she's away from Drew, she feels more level headed. But I'm so mad about it. I don't want to
Hmm.
hear it.
Right.
I'm at the
Um,
point where I'm
yeah.
like, look, even if you think about her still being there, just give stuff over to Sonny and Carly. I don't even want you at the hospital with Michael.
Can we talk about this decision to wake him up or decision around the where he's going next? First of all, when Carly was describing the treatment in Germany and to Willow and Portia, and Portia was like, I never heard of it. First of all, as a
You're not a
doctor,
dermatologist.
as a doctor, you should have been like, okay, I can research it and get back to you. She was like, since I ain't heard of it, then I'm gonna have to not approve it. I'm like,
Right.
you ain't even gonna look through your phone and be like, oh, Germany, burn, you're not even gonna do any, you're not even gonna research it at all before you clamp down and say no. That was crazy to me. It was so crazy. And then they're all like, Michael needs to make the decision. So you're just gonna torture this man, wake him up. You can't at least put him in a stable position, a place where you can stabilize him and let him deal with the pain first, and then ask him where he wants to go no long term. You gotta wake him up right now and let him experience the worst pain he's ever felt in his life. And I bet you, I'm like, how is someone like if it was me, I would not have been in my right mind to make any kind of decision. I would have been like, drug me now. I don't need to see you. Knock me out. Do something. Get rid of
Hmm.
this pain. That's all I would think about. I would not be coherent enough to make a decision on what's really best for me. All I'd be thinking about is drug me, knock me out. And so for them to be like, we can't decide this on our own. We got to wake him up. That was just crazy to me. But on the flip side, I was really not expecting to see Chad do at all. I thought his last scenes were last week.
Oh,
So for to see him um play those scenes out was, I mean, I was like, oh, there's Chad and Laura having their last scenes together. And
oh,
I did want to comment a little bit. I did see, and I don't even know if it's true. I did see him make a comment about the fire and that being his story out. Like, apparently, he made comments saying that he actually liked the fact that it was a fire because being shot or something was more boring. So I would imagine as an actor and someone that wants to, stretch and do all the things, um, being able to do those kind of scenes may have been appealing for him. And that's great as an actor. I'm glad he got to experience that. But I still think it's a horrible, horrible, horrible way for Michael as a character to go out, to have to suffer like this. And the writer's
yeah,
making the choice to be like, let's wake him up so he can decide. What? You're just gonna re-traumatize
yeah,
him like that? I just made it's horrible way, and I just feel so the way his life has turned out is just so tragic, through no fault of his own. It's just really sad to me, and I would have loved it for him to be able to go out, have his revenge, have his kids, and just bounce from Port Charles for a while. That would have been my preference. But apparently as an actor, this is just, oh, this is great. Like, I don't
yeah.
know.
I think that like if they would have done that, then Willow's whole story arc would have been trying to find her kid. She could have never had anything else. I also think like with Michael, like say just woke Lulu up from a coma, it would have been hard to put him in a coma, and he's already been in a coma. Um,
Yeah.
it wasn't surprising to me that they did this. What is surprising to me is like this belief that Carly needs anybody's permission. Like, are we a soap or are we not a soap? Is Carly Carly or is she not Carly? Because
Right.
guess what? She could just move her kid. What are we
Right. And
talking
I
about?
yeah, I
Willow, who
think
are
a lot of
you? I'm
like
going to see my kid.
there's a lot of fan fiction out there where Carly and Jason were just gonna take Will take Michael out to Germany anyway.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So yeah, I just am like, nah, I'm not trying to hear that. Speaking of Jason, how did you feel about the turn of Jason, like choosing the Quartermaines over Sunny and Carly?
I think it was very monumental. Um, and it was like it was very emotional, and I wish they would have followed it up more. I mean, it's just like he
Mm,
makes the choice and then that's it. We don't see Jason the next day, or we don't see Carly and Jason talking about the fact that he'd made that choice. It was just like a kind of like a one-off and then, no big deal. I really wish they would have fleshed it out more because that decision was really monumental, and I felt like it deserved more of a discussion about it. The fact, again, like Sonny walks away and it's like this isn't over and then has a heart attack and then we don't hear anything about the heart attack again. I mean, just like
or a heart
this was
issue, not attack,
the
because he
heart
had took the
issue
meds
again.
or whatever.
Yeah, he had to take the meds, but still, there was no confrontation between the three of them on what that meant. And that meant a lot. He chose to, follow Tracy's lead instead of Carly and Jason's. And I really would have liked to been able to hear from him why he made that choice. Because we heard when Sunny asked him to take over, we heard, I need to do this for my son. And then everyone was like, okay, that's good. Now he's making another decision and we don't hear the why. I mean, yes, we
Hmm.
hear it's Monica, but from him, why? Is it because he's really thinking that, this is like what we're doing to these kids are really crazy and we need to figure out a way to make them more safe for their benefit and not because of Carly and Sunny or because of the business. I'm really struggling right now with the business aspect and how it's affecting my family. And so I need to make better choices. I would have loved to been able to hear that. But no, he just makes the decision and then on to the next. I'm like, oh, that's frustrating to me, really, throughout this whole year, is that the writers do something really kind of poignant and monumental and just drop it on us and then walk away. There's no analysis, and there's no, not that say we need this, the characters need to analyze it like we are, but there's no closure at
Hmm.
all. And
Hmm.
that's disappointing.
Or it's just like left hanging, and we're supposed to like come back months later and hear the same. I will also
Right.
say this, like it was so weird after hearing about Leslie to have all this Monica talk. And like I really did love the scene. I do love Stella Tracy scenes because I mean,
Hmm.
two queens, obviously.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
like love that friendship. But I'm like, are they about to like have Drew kill Monica of a broken heart? Because then what are they gonna do with that character?
Right.
I I
Oh,
just I remember like reading something with Cameron just being like he didn't know this was gonna be like such a big deal. He didn't know. It shows up in his portrayal right now. He's
hmm,
like, well, Carly did this and Sonny did this and the Quartermaines have done this. How can people be so mad at me? Like this is what Cameron is saying.
yeah.
And I'm like, Cameron, how did you read the script and not understand that this is going to be hated?
Yeah. I mean, as much
And
as people talk about how much they hate Carly and Sunny or whatever, um, making these moves against them like this would not be appreciated.
people
And
don't
it's
hate
nice.
Cardi as
Yeah.
Carly and Sunny. It's just a
You're
popular thing to say. It's like people
yeah.
going back and saying, like, people be like, I watched Friends and I hated Ross and Rachel. Ross and Rachel were a like
A big part of the show. You can't.
phenomenon.
Right.
You like, I don't believe you. Okay.
Yeah. It's just very, I guess it is. It's very popular to rag on Carly all the time for no reason. But,
I mean, and for a reason, right? Like, there are people who don't like her for
exactly.
real, right? But I'm just saying
Right.
that this again is not the majority. If you go
Yeah.
anywhere, like that's a majority on one platform. It's not everywhere.
And a lot of people like we've all like said, Michael can be boring sometimes, but he's beloved. So for you to
Mhm.
treat Michael like this is hella crazy and think that you can get away with it and be, forgiven.
Because the other thing is that what we constantly hear about Michael is that he's a good man.
Hmm.
So even when Michael makes a mistake or he acts out or he does whatever, it's forgiven because that's not his character. Like when he cheated with Sasha, he instantly like felt bad. Now in real life, I wouldn't care about that. But for this character we're watching and like knowing what Willow and Drew are doing, what
Hmm.
they have done outweighs the like that Michael and Sasha slept together first. Sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
it just does. It really just does. All right. We have talked that to it's the ground. um, Liz, Lucky, and Joss are all investigating Cyrus. So we got Joss with her battering her back from Brennan, like knowing that Cyrus likely stabbed Dex. Doesn't know about the digitalis, knows about the stabbing. On the flip side, we have Lucky and Liz and a little bit of Lucas really fully suspecting Cyrus of the digitalis, but not understanding like his motive. We did have
Hmm.
that cute little cousin moment with Lucky and Josh that was very short. Again, Lucky and Lulu don't care about Michael, but whatever. Uh,
Yeah. Poor Liz. Right.
particularly, this is a completely one-off. Particularly because Jonathan Jackson's Lucky has a history with Chad's Michael.
Oh my God. He was when Michael was on the run, it was
Yes,
Lucky that was talking sense into him. It was,
yes.
Yeah, I mean, Lucky was actually part of a lot of the big things that happened in Michael's life.
Yes, yes. Anyway, let me not even go there.
Right.
Point is, I am really enjoying the cuteness of L&L too.
Yeah.
They're the one thing, they're like my little sticking point for the show. I'm like, these are my babies. Yes, give it to me. I loved them being in the restaurant together. And Liz, like kind of being like another man's caught my eye. And then she looks at
Yeah, so it was
Cyrus.
cute.
But yeah, I do feel as if their plan feels bootleg Dawn of Day. But it's happening and it's a plan, and I just need a motive from Cyrus. I need to know why you did this, bro. Like he's like some sort of angel of mercy, but why? I need to know more.
Yeah, I do. I agree. Because it's just like we all know Cyrus did it. We just don't know why.
Hmm.
And he's like choosing like seemingly characters at random or who he hears are going through pain and he's wanting to, ease their suffering. I don't understand. It's crazy. I was half expecting when Lucky confronted that mission lady in the hospital, I was half expecting the lady to be like, "Who? I don't know who Cyrus is." That's what
I
I
love
was
him.
expecting to happen. But no, it's like, yeah, he's our favorite and he's doing all this and he's amazing. But I gotta go.
Hmm.
You know? I'm like, so what is
Yeah.
it?
Hmm.
I don't, yeah, they're really teasing this one out. Um, which I guess is fine because we want Lucky and Liz to have a good story or some story. So I'm just like curious as to the
Facts.
why. So
Yeah, I'm curious too.
yeah.
As you know, we'll keep watching. I was like, what are they doing with Jocelyn? So like when Anna brings Cyrus in at Jocelyn's behest, and then lets him go, and then Jocelyn like confronts him. I was like, Jocelyn, what are we doing?
Hmm.
I need this show to come to like. Why doesn't Jocelyn have security?
Or, I think why are they playing Jocelyn as somebody that's that naive too?
Right.
I mean, yeah, so she's been in and around the mob life for a while. Pretty sure she would know not to be like, hey, you need to arrest this man on flimsy evidence because I said so. I mean, that's just weird to me. It just seemed like Jocelyn, I think you know a little bit better about how policing works. And that was just weird.
And
Um,
it's clearly
and then
some kind of like
also,
W. Oh, so I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, and then also, as much as I know she wants to have solve Dex's crime and everything, it just also seemed a little bit weird that she's off on her own adventure while her brother's struggling this way.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I also I don't know. I want to see a little bit more of Jocelyn like playing with a middle ground.
Mm.
Um, I would have loved to see Jocelyn like being like, "Damn, they busy. Let me go to Selena Wu to like get take Cyrus
Mm.
out." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I would have been interested in something like that. I mean, because our girl was back this week.
Yes.
I was happy to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we found out Cody's a crypto bro. Nothing's ever been less surprising.
Stupid.
Eh,
I'm gonna bet everything on this football game, which I never expressed an interest in before, but it seems like a sure thing because Kai said it was. So I'm gonna put the whole 50 grand,
but
which
then not pay
first
the
of
whole
all,
50 grand to Selena
and
Wu.
then not pay the whole. Well, I think he may have spent. Apparently, he spent 5,000 doing what? I don't know, but sir, you're an idiot. You prove it every single day.
I love his
Like, well,
extortion money being spent.
first of all,
I
and
love
then also, dude, you could have kept asking for more,
it.
but you should have. 50 grand is not enough.
No, it's not enough. Oh, anyway, sorry. But yeah, it was Cody, get out of here.
All right.
Speaking of this, and this I forgot to go back to this, or maybe I did say this. My brain's so fuzzy from being sick. Miss Emma, first of all,
I'm gonna need
if
her to
I'm
cut
sitting
the attitude.
if I'm sitting there with my male friend and you don't know if that's my man or not, don't be coming over to the table flirting. Get some
Right.
information before you flirt.
Right. And what's with the attitude? I'm just like, girl, you don't even know Trina. How you gonna come up with an attitude like that?
Trina was like, "Oh, Jocelyn told me about you," but this is the other like connection. Like this is like part of like my irritation. One, like making because we didn't talk. I was really irritated that Cameron and Jocelyn cheating on Cameron is still a story. Of all the things, so we forget that Joss was like violated with the sex tape. We forget about
Mhm.
all these things, but we remember about her cheating on Cameron that she didn't break up with him on time after she was almost killed. Like, I don't want to hear it. And if Emma knows about that, does she not know about all the other things that Jocelyn's been through? And
Or
so
she's
why am
just
I
there to
running up
be
on you on
right.
this and not checking to see how you are in other spaces? And so
Mm.
I appreciated Trina having smoke. Like, oh yeah, Josh told me about you. Said you were
I
home.
appreciated it too. And again, this is another character switch,
Mm,
which is interesting. It's like some characters they're bringing back and they want them to be true to their past character, right? So we have Lulu coming back being the same kind of busybody, snotty person that she was when she left. But now Emma's coming back and she's not the sweet girl that we thought, that she was when, she left. And now she's just like this condescending hellion talking smack and talking back to her grandma. Like, girl, like GH, which is it? Do you want the characters to be true to themselves or do you want to just switch them up for drama's sake?
and
Because
I
Emma is a
understand the
legacy.
drama.
Emma can be a drama for Jocelyn in the same way she was when she was a kid. Like Emma really didn't cause a lot of smoke against people, but people just, Joss and her didn't always get along. But at least, it was just a personality thing. It wasn't like Emma was trying to cause problems for Jocelyn or just had a bad attitude. It was just, the little kid rivalry. But now it's
Mhm.
like Emma's coming back. She's badass and she's talking smack to her grandma and she's like having an attitude with Felicia in the bar. And she's like, I can go out and I can drink and I can do this and I can give a whole bunch of attitude to everybody on the canvas. And, and, I'm just like, I don't like that.
I don't mind a character flip, especially for like a Sora's character,
Yeah.
because I think that like the Drew thing is so like jarring because this is the character flip from last year. With Emma, they've Sora's her like whatever, but I do think that there needs to be balance. I don't need to have her having an attitude every time I see her, right? Like, give me some reason why. If you're gonna actually bring this character back, you need to bring her back in a real way that felt like a reintroduction. And that like
Mhm.
actually was like I said, like some balance. Like, I mean, not to keep harping on this, but she knew Spencer too. They were close. What do you mean
Mhm.
that like Emma would know Trina from Spencer?
Yes. That was
Like,
something I did not pick up on, but yes, she should know who Trina is.
like, like it just you're telling me that you've been with Cam. Cam came back from Spencer for Spencer's funeral. Like, you telling me Cam didn't ever say, "Oh yeah, I'm worried about my friend Trina because of the Spencer thing. She was with him." It just it's just like these little things that the writers do that I'm just like, do y'all watch the show? Do you know what you've written?
Right.
I don't know. Anyway, um, Oh, Dante and BOQ. So we finally get
He-
confirmation that Brooklyn had a baby with Dante that she put up for adoption. And apparently Dante used to be really into Brooklyn back in the day that we didn't know about.
Well, that's the thing. It goes back to your point. Do they watch the show? There's somebody that went on Twitter and posted a video of a
Hmm.
conversation way back in the day where Brooklyn was trying to drug Dante, and Dante was saying, "I didn't know you had a crush on me. You were just a little girl back then." So apparently they didn't watch that either. They're totally revisioning, rewriting history, which is, I guess, fine if you're trying to do that, but it's just so blatant that people are like, I can't.
It's like, whatever. You rewrite things all the time. Sorry, I'm like keep dropping things. I'm in another frame. Um, but like you rewrite things all the time, and that's fine. But it's a lack of respect for history
Right.
that y'all just are like, I'm gonna make a round peg fit in a square hole, no matter what. No matter what you've seen, no matter what was talked about, doesn't matter the integrity of any other story. We're doing this. And to what end?
Or Geo, who we still don't feel his character is worth this. Like,
I mean, I don't know
it's
what
not.
character is.
Well, I mean, when we found out that Sasha was actually a Scorpio, I didn't necessarily mind it because I like Sasha. I would like to have like her to have more roots in GH. I didn't really care about Holly that much. I'm okay with them rewriting history around this because I like Sasha as a character and I want her to have more of a stake in GH.
Sure.
Geo, on the other hand, he's been here a year and a half. He still has not made that much of an impression on me. If he were to disappear tomorrow, I wouldn't. And yet, they are going back in time and revisioning history that we on characters we do care about just so Geo. Well, I don't even know if it's just because of Geo, but to benefit Geo. So that's what gets to me. That's what I'm just like,
Yeah.
mm,
Well, I'll say two things.
yeah,
One, I think, there was like this whole thing around like the Daddy Dante story, and that was like
yeah,
for Dex. And it was
right,
mostly because, one, to your point, people wanted Dex to have roots, and because it was like, how do we get Dex out of the mob?
right.
And if Dante was his dad and Sonny was his grandfather, he had great chemistry with Mo, that we could still have that relationship. That is not transferable to Geo.
Yeah. They're taking Dex money and time and giving it to Geo. We don't appreciate it.
And then the other thing I'll say
Yeah.
in general is that the way I've been viewing the show lately is, to me, I'm looking at things like who is good. Like when you're like, oh, this person's a waste of time, or this person is that. I'm like, who is getting good story? Who, if you were not already a fan of them, who is getting story written to make you a fan of them? So if you think about characters that we used to get back in the day, they would go through character arcs and be like, oh yeah, I love this person. And right now, it is really based on vibes and like fan fiction because nobody is getting the kind of story that would make you a fan of them. It's frustrating to say the least. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and that, but we do have BLQ like trying to get pregnant. Like I said, we got the confirmation that she's had um the baby before. Um, we had the kind of heavy-handedness of Geo coming in when it happened, and obviously, like I said, we had Lydia look back as our mob queen, Selena Wu. Um, so I am interested because she was like talking to Geo. So I am wondering if Geo is going to be a part of some Selena Wu story.
Yeah, she was interested in his playing or whatever. She might invite him to come to the club. I don't know.
Come to the club and play violin.
They have that man playing violin in every single situation. He was at the football game. He's at the art gallery. Next thing you know, he's gonna be in the lounge playing smooth jazz on his playlist. He's
As
gonna
you
be at the
do.
hospital on Christmas. You know, he did the little Christmas play in the Quartermaines house. He's playing violin everywhere. And I'm
As you
glad for the
do.
violin because the violin needs to be played and heard and respected. I appreciate that for the instrument alone. But the
Mhm.
character, I could. Uh,
Yeah. Uh, what else we got?
oh, can we
Um,
go?
oh
What I
yeah.
was going to say about. No, we already did. We talked about VOQ. I'm still like, yeah, we already beat that, but I'm just like irritated.
No, say what is it?
I just, I thought I, had more to say, but I don't. I'm just still thinking about it. That's making me irritated. The fact that, this is happening, the rewrite for Dante, I think he has enough of a story to contend with without having to put this whole child that I never knew I had back in the mix. He's still grieving. They don't know what they're doing with Lulu and Dante. He, again, his brother's in the hospital in a burn unit. He has to, I think he's investigating that crime, right? I mean, he's doing a lot. And then saddling him with a kid. Oh, poor Dominic. I like that you were getting a lot of story, Dominic. I do, but I think it's too much. Yeah. Like I really wish they would allow him to flesh out these other stories, especially
Hmm.
what happened with Michael, and wanting to support his family. Would
Yeah.
have been great to have gotten his input on what should we should do with Michael's recovery too. He
And
would have been
have
a
some
great
like
person to ask.
real feelings about Drew and Scout.
Yes. Yes. About what Drew's doing to Michael and that family. He could have so much that he could be talking about instead of adding another child. I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah. Oof. Woof. Just woof. We also got Lulu search for Charlotte and a job. So it's interesting that Lulu went to see her mom, so see Laura, found like confronted her about Charlotte being shot, talked to her about still blaming Dante, which girl, what? Um, and in general, like what I found to be really interesting is like Laura talking to Lulu about Valentine, but not. I mean, obviously, I know that they are clearly trying to re-villainize Valentine, but like, let's be clear: Valentine was like co-parenting Charlotte with Laura while Lulu was asleep, and Valentine went on a run because Anna let him go on the run with Charlotte. So it's not like he's just like this monster that took Charlotte. Like it was at the, you know what I mean? Like it's just like a very
Right?
interesting whatever. So I struggle because I understand why she wants her daughter back. I just don't care enough about Charlotte. I don't know why they think that we care enough about Charlotte and Lulu's relationship for this to be such a big story.
On the other hand, I do care about Lulu and Charlotte as a family, but what irritated me was she still blames Dante, and Dante's feeling like maybe he should be to blame. No, Dante's never to blame for anything. But she had that, like, he told her in the hotel, why are you neglecting your son? You're kind of like, it's a slap in the face to Sam. You're not taking into account all these things, and you're just selfishly going after Charlotte, and you put Charlotte in more danger. And she's going around town talking to Laura. I almost got to Charlotte, but Dante. And then she goes to Tracey. I almost got to Charlotte, but Dante. Like, girl, you need to keep Dante's name out of your mouth if you don't
Ooh,
recognize everything he's done for you. Don't talk about Dante.
ooh.
It won't be
Uh,
happening here.
I just have never found Lulu and Charlotte's relationship to be that compelling. Either bring her back or don't, but the search for her is not compelling, to me at least.
Yeah, I think the search for Charlotte, her placing her energy on Charlotte is to above everything else that's going on in her life is misdirected. Like again, Rocco, who has been by your bedside, who has been praying
Mm-hmm.
for you, and you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
run off across the country looking for a girl who, like, to your point, Tracy, never really was as close to you as
Mm-hmm.
your own son, and you're neglecting him is wrong. And you're
Yep.
blaming Dante over it is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are the things that are irritating me right now. And
Yeah.
the job thing is crazy to me. All the jobs out there in the world, you could be working in Bobby's, you could be working at McDonald's, you could be working anywhere, yet you're willing to work for Brooklyn. I think that's a plot point right there because it seems out of character. Definitely.
And it also is like, I mean, obviously it's written, everything's contrived, but this is so contrived. And what would have been, I think, just like an extra step that would have made sense is like a temp agency placed her or something. But Maxie
Yeah,
hiring her to work for Brooklyn, I mean,
right.
like do the classic like blind item where you got set up, or maybe you hired like a fancy firm to find you someone, and then you and
Yeah,
Lulu met up, and you're like, oh, it's you, kind of thing.
yeah,
That's more to me. That's a little bit more interesting than something as silly as Maxie hiring somebody that you hate to be your assistant, and you going out for a job for somebody that you hate.
yeah,
What are we doing?
exactly. It wouldn't have
I
happened
mean,
on purpose.
no, and granted, I do
Yeah,
like deception being more of like I think I've been saying I wanted deception to be more of a plot point, like really similar to like what we had with like Enchantment and oh now I'm missing the name and AMC,
yeah.
but like the like cosmetic whatever, like I think that that's really interesting and I love the business part and women going to work, but this is silly
They could have even had Lucy do it. Lucy would have. I see. This is something that Lucy
for
would do.
chaos. Yeah.
Cause the chaos. I'm hiring Lulu to be yours. That's something Lucy definitely would have done. But
Hmm.
having Maxie do it, that's not cool.
Right. And then finally we got Ava in custody and also being broke. So um this is another example, as Tara says, like the kids belong to the mansion. I don't understand how we're doing all of this back and forth and injunctions and this and that for like Willow and her kids, but Rick is telling Ava that Sunny's house blowing up is not enough of a reason for her to at least try to get custody back of Avery.
Yeah, that's weird.
And because Avery's at Carly's house, okay, what that mean?
And I also didn't like, well, I guess I'm okay with it. At first, when I was watching it, it just seemed it, like there was like a little bit of conflict between Ava and Rick, and I didn't like that because I want them to get together. But
Hmm.
I do appreciate the tension just because, they're phenomenal actors and any scene with them is great. I enjoyed Sidwell kind of flirting with Ava and Rick just being like, and wanting to stay and be a witness. I think that was cute. But yeah, I don't want Ava to
Hmm.
be broke. Ava's not broke. There's nothing broke about her, down to every outfit she's wearing. Again, that's a side note. Ava looks great all week.
Always.
Especially, I love that leather kind of top that she had and her hair in a bun thing. Oh my God, that was amazing. But people this week were talking about her outfit with the black and the flower and the leather pants. She don't look like she
Hmm.
broke. She ain't broke. I mean, custody cases are expensive, but not that expensive. I don't
Hmm.
know. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't like it.
I also don't understand how Sidwell is just walking around.
Exactly. Yeah, there was a lot of talk about that. He's just walking around free as a bird. When there was a warrant out for his arrest, did he blow up something?
Yeah, with Sasha and Jason inside.
Yes. He's just, freewheeling it out here and owning Windermere and just like whoop de whoop de woo. He hasn't run into Brennan yet.
Brendan got
Crazy.
all this satellite. He know where Jocelyn is, which was weird, but you don't know about Sidwell. What we doing?
Crazy.
Well, speaking of, look, I liked when I shared my screen before somebody tried again. Um, there was an interview in what is this TV line with
Uh-huh.
Stephanie Sloan, and it was a glimpse into Port Charles 2025. So there's just a few things that I found to be interesting. First of all, writers tease volatile and sexy future
Definitely been volatile
and unsexy.
and unsexy.
Um, but I really some things that like really stood out for me was where is it? So I really thought it was funny to hear them talk about co-writing GH is an honor and a challenge, daunting at times, but I'm loving it. I could not ask for a better collaborator and writing partner than Chris, who brings so much creativity, enthusiasm, and experience to the task. I hope that my history with the show enables me to understand the characters, to hear their voices clearly, to honor their complex history, and to track off that history as we move them forward. I have not found them to be respectful to history at all. And I actually
Mm-mm.
have been really surprised by that, considering that court's been there for so long. It's like, yeah, you know it, and then you choose to ignore it. I don't know if that's better or worse than somebody who just doesn't know it.
Right. It's like
It's
it's weird. And she says it. She's like, the audience invests their time and passion in the show, and we want to honor that investment. So, we invest all that. You don't think we're going to
mhm.
be able to clock that you were miswriting history?
If you're like Britt, who has guests on the show a lot, she's a Brooklyn fan.
Yeah.
I don't hate Brooklyn. I don't hate Chillin. I'm not particularly overly invested in either of them. But if you're a Brooklyn fan, imagine watching what's happening. How do you feel about this? They've completely changed the course of your character.
Right.
You have all added another lie between Brooklyn and Chase. Like you added a layer to Brooklyn's history that was never true, just for story. Um, I felt it was really interesting. When they talked about like some of the highlights, so it was like the return of Jason, Lucas, Rick, Lucky, Lulu. And the only return I felt to be done really well, I liked Lucas's return and I liked Rick's return. And I
Right.
think part of that is so what is interesting of that is that those are the ones that they invested the least amount in.
Hmm.
Jason was over the top, Lucky was over the top, and obviously Lulu was like what Lulu was. Well, Rick and Lucas, they just showed up and then they
They didn't
became
get,
part of the show again.
yeah, there was no big advertisement. Rick is coming back to GH. There was no pre-interviews. There was nothing. We didn't
Mm-hmm.
even know that Lucas was coming back. And
Mm-hmm.
yet their returns were has been the most successful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For them to say that Curtis and Drew's rivalry was a highlight, I don't know. For me, it was not a low light. And then also, how dare you say Sam's death was a highlight? I'll smack y'all. Um, and then, well, there are my two. And then them talking about Robert and Holly's Casablanca moment. Keep it, keep it. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to see it. But I will say, I do really appreciate and I love the on-screen mother-daughter relationship between Brooklyn and Lois. And I think that those two actresses have done so well. And that's the drama. If I'm being honest, that's the only drama I'm looking forward to over like the Geo thing, like that reveal. I'm not looking
Yeah.
forward to like the drama from Chase or from Dante or from any of that, but I am looking forward to the drama between Lois and Brooklyn.
Yeah, because
just to see how they played out.
it's definitely looking like Rena kept or Lois kept Geo a secret from Brooklyn, and that's probably going to have a lot of fallout.
Right. Woo. Um, and then this one, which was really interesting. The GH fans are very engaged online. Do you check out the post? Was the question. And Chris Van Etten said, I don't, but there are a few trusted fans in my circle who are glad to give me their 2 cents when solicited and often when not. Chris, call us, expand your circle. I promise you, because I will say for me, I obviously have my favorites. If you listen to the show, you know my favorites. But I feel like Tanya and I both take care to talk about what is lacking and why. We are the kind of people, I think that you will know this if you listen to us, that if you take us on a good ride, we gonna rock with you. We are along for the ride. As long as it's a good ride, as long as it makes sense, as it honors history, as it builds character, that is what's important. It's not like, well, if my couple isn't together, I'm not gonna watch this. That's not the case for us. We actually want to see a good show. And a good show, I talk about this all the time. When they broke up Sam and Jason, because I was an original Jason fan, I was mad, but I still watched because they let Sam go around reading everybody. They had the text message, like there was story happening, right, on the show. Like it's like I said, it's when you look the response to this article, and I think GH like won like or got nominated for like a Writers Guild award. Every comment on like Instagram was like, "Why? Why were y'all nominated? Oh, the other soaps must be really bad."
No, I
That's
don't
a
know what it
problem.
is. It's crazy because they do, it's like because I don't know about the Writers Guild, but at least the Emmys, they base it off of a couple of reels and not the actual whole year of writing, which is really weird to me
Mhm.
because GH is lacking in consistency. If you pick some random story, yes, you're probably gonna get
I say that
like,
all the time.
but if you're like the sum total of GH writing has been very inconsistent and disrespectful to history and crazy.
Mhm. The
And
other piece is because, like, I think like the last time they won, they had like submitted Epiphany's funeral. You know,
right.
they're gonna submit Bobby's funeral. So they do a lot of like submitting based on like pulling heartstrings and because our actors are so good, if you don't know how absurd something is in context, it is really easy to put together a writer's reel or a director's reel
Hmm. Or an acting reel.
or acting reel.
Yeah.
But like when I understand you shouldn't read all the comments, but I don't agree that they don't read comments. They do. It's
Hmm.
clear that they do. It shows up in the writing. It shows up in the ways that they address things weeks later. They definitely read these comments. And for me, I'm not saying you should read all the comments, but I am saying there should be a way that people give you feedback. Because like I understand, right? Like they bought, and this is not me picking on anybody, but it was clear to me when they were bringing Jonathan back as Lucky. I was like, oh, we're getting LNL2 again, obviously. Because when he left the last time, he said he didn't understand why they didn't play into that history. So it was obvious like Finn was gone. Liz, she gonna get pursued by Rick, but she gonna get Lucky. And so when the people who are fans of Jason and Liz were like pushing for Jason and Liz, I can understand why the writers are saying, "I'm not listening to that."
Hmm.
When somebody is telling you y'all are being disrespectful, because like if somebody wanted Jason back or somebody wanted Carly and Sunny back, whatever. When people are telling you you're being disrespectful to history, when people are telling you you're writing people out of character, when people are telling you things do not connect or make sense as far as story goes, that's really different than I don't like this pairing. And you do need to listen to that.
Yeah, and I think like even if they have an ultimate goal of making sure that, Willow and Drew end up together, there's ways that they could have gone about that that wouldn't have pissed off as much. You know, you can still end up with your ultimate goal, but still be respectful of history, be respectful of the characters. There's a way to do it. If you don't know how to do it, that's when you can come to us because we be writing fan fiction like no tomorrow. But you know, it's not that we're trying to undermine your stated goals. We're just trying to make sure that the way that you do it is in a way that does all the things that you say you're doing. If you don't care about being respectful to history, then fine, have at it. But don't say that you care about the fans and you care about history and you care about all these things
When
and
you
then
clearly
don't do
don't.
it, right?
I
So,
mean, yeah, because what we do know is the gate, Beyond the Gates is coming. It's going to be opposite
mhm.
GH's time slot. People are really frustrated with the writing on GH. I know people are frustrated with the writing on Days. And Beyond the Gates has put together the like Avengers of daytime over there.
Right.
So good luck to all. Ready for preview for next week?
Yes.
Well, we are preempted on Monday. I don't even want to talk about for why.
Because
Hell,
it's MLK Day.
Hell inauguration day. Um, but Tuesday. Oops, where are we at? My computer's acting stupid. Okay, Tuesday. Willow voices her regret. Hmm, should be regretful. Uh, Sunny and Ava clash. Sasha updates Maxie. Tracey stonewalls Anna. Harley is grateful to Brennan.
They're gonna have Tracy up in the police station.
Yeah, that was a wild. Oh, because we didn't really talk about like the arrest. Like Drew, what are you doing, bro? Like, I would like to hope. I would hope that Willow would be mad about this, and maybe this is like what leads to Nina telling on Drew that he's
Hmm.
overstepping because we already saw how she felt in the hospital when she obviously like made the inroads with Sunny and then Willow went to hug Drew. So maybe this will be the thing that like really pushes her over the edge. We shall see.
Hmm.
But on Wednesday, Isaiah presses Sunny. Jason plays Peacemaker. Lucky and Elizabeth gain some insight. Ooh, you're not gonna like this. Lulu and Dante spar.
Spar?
Spar.
Spar. Okay.
And Christina hosts the reopening of Charlie's. So that looks like it's going to be lots of people at Charlie's who are not in the spoilers. Um,
Uh, okay.
yep. Thursday, Rick comes through for Ava. Lucas and Jocelyn compare notes. Laura learns of a possible threat. Natalia gets to Sunny. Mac gives Cody some tough love.
Like, dude, get your life together and stop gambling.
Eh. Friday, Tracy lays down the law. Brendan surprises Carly. Nina encourages Willow. Lulu gets a tempting offer. Trina visits Kai. I know Kai is still in the hospital for that arm. I
Over
know
a
that.
dislocated shoulder. Okay.
Okay, well, we shall see. Um, Make sure to tell a friend, like, share, subscribe, buy us a coffee, and we will
All the
see you next
things.
week.
Thank
All the
you.
things. Thank you.